So obviously Sony has been working on some stuff for their online infrastructures coming into 2022. The whole PlayStation Spartacus thing was of course revealed as new PlayStation Plus tiers. There's 3 different tiers. They'll be coming out over the summer, and I don't mind things like this. I think it's a cool thing. I like being able to play classic games from classic PlayStation systems. I mean, there's a lot of great games that are available on the PS1, the PS2, the PS3, via the cloud at least, and of course the PlayStation 4, and even some PlayStation 5 titles are going to be included in this. So I think it's a cool service. You know, obviously the pricing has a lot of people confused. Is there going to be enough value to warrant that sort of price? It's not really a Game Pass killer like the media hyped it up to be, but I mean, really, it really falls on the media. That falls on jackasses like me who are trying to hype it up as the potential Game Pass killer, when in actuality it's probably just Sony doing what they want to do. But Sony, there's a problem. Sony. There's something going on right now that I don't like. Basically, you buy a game, you can't play that game anymore on the system you bought it for, and Sony hasn't done anything to fix this glitch. Now, I know what you're saying to yourself, well, there's lots of games like that. What if you bought like an online only game that the servers go down? Then that's kind of your loss. That's a completely different topic here. That's a completely different thing. That's a completely different story because of the fact that there's an inherent risk of when you buy an online only game that yes, this game is going to fail. We have seen many online only games completely fail, completely fall flat on their face. Most recently, Knockout City was a game that they were charging money for, and now it's a free game. I don't think those servers are going to be up for a very long time. There's been games like Lawbreakers and stuff. There's an inherent risk of when you buy an online only game that something is going to happen with that game, and those servers are going to go down if the game, you know, is not successful. And that's okay. Like I said, there's an inherent risk with things like this, but when we're talking about like a classic game and you bought it on your system, but you can't access it due to a licensing issue, then we have some bigger problems. And that's what's happening right now with Sony, essentially not letting you play games that you bought. So let's see what's going on with this. So I'm reading the summary done here by Siliconera. PSN bug causing game licenses to expire on PS3 and Vita. And you're saying, oh, well, it's a bug. A bug. Why are you making a big deal out of this? I'm sure something will happen. I have my thoughts on whether or not this is a bug or not. So basically, this started happening earlier this week with games like Chrono Cross. Now, that's very interesting because of the fact that Chrono Cross, of course, just got a remastered edition. And I know what you're saying to yourself, RGT, just get the remastered edition. Have you seen the reviews for that game? It doesn't look like that remastered edition is up to tip-top shape like the original game was. There are performance issues and frame rate issues that are evidently hampering the game and making it run worse than the original game, which I don't really understand that. I don't understand how we're making a step backwards. I do plan on playing this game at some point in time, but obviously it's not in a state that is completely desirable. So now evidence is pointing to a phenomenon being a network glitch. This is coming to us from Prima Games. Earlier this week, users began reporting issues with playing the PS1 classic version of Chrono Cross on the PS3. The initial theory was that Square Enix had delisted the older version of the game due to the recent release of Chrono Cross: The Radical Dreamers Edition remaster. This was the case for a recent Final Fantasy Pixel remaster releases, which saw Square Enix remove older versions of the game from the Steam store. That said, users could still play the older versions if they had purchased it. However, the problem has reportedly been affecting games from other publishers as well. Specifically, users reported getting errors stating that a game's license expired on January 1st, 1970. The error message have been seemingly random. This has affected games for users while working fine for others, as well as depending on the console. Games Hub's Edmund Tran found that while the PlayStation 1 version of Chrono Cross no longer appeared on the Vita store, he could still play it through his downloaded list. On the other hand, it was available in the PS3 store and could be installed, but displayed the above error message. So basically, like, we're talking about games that you bought via, you know, the PSN store not being able to be played on the game. The expiration date in question is of particular importance, as users have pointed out. Is the Enox epoch, basically a zero time thing, is commonly used as a default timestamp in a database. As such, it is highly likely that the expired game licenses are a result of a PSN bug. Sony has yet to comment on the issue. Now, they like to say bug. They like to say, you know, oh, well, it's a bug. You know, it's a bug that's causing it. And on one hand, maybe it is. Maybe it is. However, I think there's way too many interesting coincidences with this to just assume that this is a bug. And I think I can sort of maybe sway your persuasion a little bit if you do think it is a bug. Because first and foremost, how about that timing? How about that timing? The PS1 version of Chrono Cross is no longer working on select systems, and Chrono Cross, the remaster, just came out. That's kind of a coincidence. That's a bit of a coincidence. Now you could say, well, RGT, maybe nobody's just tried to buy that game recently. And, you know, I guess I could understand that, but obviously when that game is going to come out, you're going to have a renewed interest in it, especially considering the fact that, like I said, it doesn't seem like this version of the game is completely up to snuff. It doesn't seem like this version of the game, that the remastered version, is as good as the original version, just in terms of performance. Yeah, you got new textures and crap like that, but it seems like there's a bigger issue with the game here. So, but now I can't play the game that I bought or download the game via your store and play the said game because of a licensing issue. Now that's, to me, is very bizarre. Why would there be an expiration date on when you could buy a digital game? And the fact that Chrono Cross is one of the games that's involved in this, obviously there are other third-party games. It seems like your mileage is going to vary with this. But I think the bigger problem that I have with this is, okay, you know what? Let's say it is a bug. Let's say that this is just a big coinky-dink, and that, you know, this is obviously doing something because of the licensing issue, because of the expiration date of the issue. Why hasn't this been fixed? Why hasn't this been fixed? It's been over a week since people first saw that Chrono Cross was having problems on select PlayStation platforms. You would think, you would know that Sony is obviously getting feedback from this. Companies get feedback. I know a lot of people don't believe this, but when you complain about something, when something is making, you know, headline stories for video game websites, when YouTubers are talking about this as well, companies get feedback. Like, there are tons of companies that follow me on Twitter, and I'm like, why do you follow me? Like, I'm just a random nobody. But they listen to feedback. They listen to consumers. And if Sony is aware of this, and this is just indeed a bug, why hasn't it been fixed? Why hasn't it been fixed? Why hasn't Sony said something about this bug as well? How hard could it actually be to change a date, a licensing date? And the bigger problem is, why in the shit, piss, booty hole, I couldn't even think of anything. Why is a game contingent on a date, a license thing? Like, that to me is the bigger problem here. You bought a game, you downloaded a game, but you can't play the game because of a licensing issue. This is something that whenever people say, oh, the old digital future is gonna be great, you don't have to buy video, you don't have to, you know, go to your shelf. There are so many disadvantages of an all digital future. One, you can't sell your games. So if you buy a game for $60 or $70, you're screwed. You're stuck with it. You're not selling it to a friend and making some money back. You're not trading it into your local GameStop. No, you are stuck with that game. Two, companies can remove games at the whim because of licensing issues. Three, you are contingent on things like expiration dates on your games for these all digital games. Four, you don't even really own it. And that's what everything is coming back full circle here. You buy something and then somebody takes it away from you and you can't do anything about it. Isn't that like theft? Like, isn't that theft? You know, if I have someone come over to my house and I'm like, oh, look at my box copy of NBA Action 95 for the Sega Genesis starring David Robinson. And then they say, oh, well, that's a cool game, I'm gonna take it. And then they just leave with it. Like, obviously, that's theft. You stole that game from me. This is a game that I bought. This is a game that I own, and he stole it from me, making me not able to play that game. Now, I wouldn't be too upset if it was NBA Action 95. Like, it's not a great game, but I have a lot of great games. And, you know, just bringing everything back full circle, if it is indeed a bug, why hasn't it been fixed? Why hasn't it been addressed? Why has Sony said nothing about this? That to me is the bigger problem here. The timing of it, you know, oh, it's Chrono Cross. And obviously this is something that's not even affecting everyone. So, you know, a lot of people do feel like that's something that sort of lends it to more of a bug thing, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's a test. Maybe it's a test that's being ran on certain individuals with certain PSN accounts to see if they can get away with things like this. These companies aren't your friends. These companies are not your friends. They want to maximize profit. They want to maximize how much money they make. And if they have to resell you a game over and over again, they will do that. They will do that. They will take away your old games from you if they could, because they're not making money on those games like they would on a new version of the game. So I don't know. Something stinks about this. That's the main thing here. If it was just a bug, I feel like Sony would have addressed this. They would have said something about it. They would have, tried to rectify this situation, but they haven't. And that's where my suspicions sort of get a little bit higher. That's where my suspicions kind of get, a little bit more suspicious, I guess, because you have this PlayStation Plus, tier system coming out, and now old PS1 classics are unavailable to play for some people. Something stinks, man. Something stinks. So let me know in the comments section down below what you think of all of this. Are you starting to finally realize that this all digital future is a little bullshit and we need to stop trying to embrace it? Yes, I get the convenience factor of it, but it's not a good thing. It's not good. They're taking away things that you own. Like, that's ridiculous. And as always, thank you for checking out this video. First time on the channel, hit that subscribe button. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one, probably with more outrage about something. Later.